Hey, Karita Griffith Walker here, doing cutting edge professional development for dance educators. Today we are talking to the tap teachers, and we are talking about our choreography. The tap choreography. It's a great topic. Now, what I would love for you to do is let me know where you are in the process right now. Are you done for the year? Congratulations if you are. Are you still cleaning, getting ready for upcoming performances? Or are you in an in-between? Maybe you have finished all the performances, but you have a few weeks left to go. So let me know if you're in that in between, if you're done, if you're still cleaning. Let me know where you are in the process. Today, we are talking about tap choreography from the artiste vantage point, right? Very often, I focus on our choreography from the educational standpoint, and I will continue to do that. But today, this is about us as artists, right? Us as artists. I think this is a valuable topic because I think it's important for us to have some fulfillment out of this part of our work, right? Choreography is a significant, percentage of the way that we spend our time and energy. We spend more time with the pieces than anybody, right? From the music choices to the music cutting, if you gotta cut it or whatever, like the actual composition, then the teaching, and then thinking through and cleaning it. Like, we spend more time thinking about this choreography than anybody. So I want to make sure that we are feeling good about our work, right? This is a big part of it. So I want us to feel good about it. So let's think about us and our fulfillment today. What I want you to do is watch a piece or two or however many tap pieces you got. Watch them as cold as you can. Do a cold viewing, so to speak. So get out your, I was born in the 1900s, like get your Etch-a-Sketch out, get your Etch-a-Sketch out, shake out the Etch-a-Sketch of your mind, shake it, shake it, shake it, yes, and watch the piece cold as though you've never seen the piece. That's what I want you to do, right? Now, I want you to do it with some mental calmness, and that's the added challenge. So by that, I mean, you can't be like screaming notes at the students in your head, like still yelling out notes over the music in your head. You don't want to be doing that, and that is the hard part. Sitting back and just taking in the piece. That's what I would love for you to do. Good challenge, right? So now, I want us to be thinking about that question. Do I like this piece? Watch it cold. Ask yourself, do I like this piece? Not, are they doing it right? That's a different question, right? Now, if the piece is a mess, it's hard to know if you like the piece. But so if you're still in cleaning mode, then maybe this isn't the video to watch right now. First, go and check out a workshop I just did about clean tap routines. If you're needing some help trying to get this thing tightened up, go to karitagriffith.com/clean. That's karitagriffith.com/clean to check out some stuff about clean tap routines and how to better clean the routines. That's where you are. But hopefully, we're beyond that. In that workshop, we talk about several things, clear rhythmic sounds, aligned with the meter, of course, confident students, strong performance energy. And then we talk about this idea of like, is there a clear idea being conveyed with the piece? I'm sitting back looking at it. This is my artistic self. Like, is there a clear idea being conveyed? And that's what I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about today. Is there a clear idea being conveyed musically? Is there a clear idea being conveyed thematically? Is there some, clear idea happening here? I am generally thinking about this statement, like, is there a clear idea clearly conveyed? Is there a clear, strong idea clearly conveyed? Right? Very simple. Clear idea clearly conveyed. So I think about it musically. Is there a clear idea being conveyed, right? So in that, there's several aspects that we could talk about. One is the song choice. The song choice. Is the song choice living up to what you thought it would be, right? So we listen to a jillion songs. Is the song living up to what you'd hoped, right? Is it working? Are your music cuts working? Did you put together the kind of cuts that would really work? Right, that are working on stage? Is it coming to life the way that you thought it would? I just watched a couple of my pieces cold, and it was interesting to listen to the two different song choices. Now, one of the pieces was a solo piece, not acapella, acoustic with lead vocals, background vocals. Acoustic, lead vocals, background vocals, that was it. And the taps filled in the rest. Came across pretty well. It's getting good response. It's a competitive piece and all that. Comes across pretty well to me, comes across to audiences and all of that, judges. Then I have another piece that I did that was choreographed to a piano line and a single vocal line. No background vocals, just bare bones. I think it's the most bare bones song I've ever tried to use. It's like next to a cappella, right? So it's like, okay, there's just simple piano, simple vocal line, one vocalist, and that's it. So the taps were the clear thing, clearly conveyed. Whoa. It was a real difference. It was a real difference. Now, the other song, I always make sure, I was at a festival, the LA Tap Festival with Arthur Duncan, great Arthur Duncan. And one time he was talking about song choices and he said, you've got to choose songs where there's space to dance. It's like a very obvious thing, right? But when he said it, I was like, right. And so it's just something that stuck with me, that is there room for my composition, what I'm going to choreograph, to fit into this thing, right? Or am I picking the most full composition with guitars and drums and vocals and these other vocals, like no breakdowns, no stop time, no nothing, and I'm just trying to like jam in some stuff. Am I trying to fit in like that, right? And then put it on stage and expect other people to get the idea, right? Or am I picking things, where there's room for this percussive sound of tap dance, right? It's tap dance after all, right? This is the exciting feature, right? That we are creating composition. We're creating rhythm and music, right? So we're picking songs. When we're picking songs, we got to make sure that we're fitting in that way. So maybe take a little moment to evaluate the song choice. Is the song choice working? And so for me right now, I'm in a space where I'm like reviewing pieces that I've done and looking ahead to the next pieces that I'm going to choreograph. And I'm thinking about that. I was like, man, it was a really big difference picking that super simple composition, that the piece really, I could really sit back and enjoy the choreography, enjoy the music that was created inside the phrasing, and really more deeply listen to the composition that I created. And so the audiences could really listen to that. And they got a lot of positive feedback about the high quality musicality because it was so out front, right? So it was like very exciting to do. The other piece also great, but definitely not as prominent as the one with the very thin, like vocal line, very thin composition. So song choice is an important thing to evaluate. Then now once you can hear everything, right? If you can hear everything, now let's look at the phrasing. Let's evaluate the phrasing. Listen to the phrasing, right? How is that coming across? How is the phrasing coming across? Do you like what you put together? Regardless of level. I can tell you, over the years, I've wanted to be a better choreographer, just keep getting better. I'm a dancer, it's like, we gotta keep getting better. So I stay hungry with it. But about 5 years ago, I was at a tap festival. I was on faculty at a tap dance festival, and there was a student showcase. And so like you watch a lot of student pieces, groups, duets, whatever. And a group came out. I was like, that point, like, I think I was getting a little tired, but this piece was so strong. The phrasing was so beautiful and it was so engaging that I was like, that's just superior work. Like, I had listened to a lot of stuff already. We had watched a lot of pieces from a lot of different choreographers. And I was like, that's just superior work. That was what was going on in my head. So I like looked around the other faculty. I was like, whose piece is this? Whose is this? And I'm like, Derek's. Derek K. Grant's piece, right? He's up watching it in the back, probably doing his own cold watch of the piece, right? Derek K. Grant, just a superior choreographer. I don't know another way to put it. And I was so inspired by his piece, and I was so inspired by the phrasing. The phrasing was just incredible. I don't know another way to put it right now. It's just very sophisticated, obviously well executed. The more advanced dancers, but very well executed, but really sophisticated phrasing. And that was something that really inspired me. I'll never be the choreographer that Derek Grant is, but I was like, man, he made me start climbing a little harder. I always want to be better, but it was just, I still remember that marker of just like, that was a moment that I was like, I really want to keep stepping my game up on the phrasing. How are the ideas coming across? Or am I communicating muddled rhythm patterns? Muddled, not it's like, oh, this, all the 8 counts are clear, fine, or all the bars are clear, fine. But how are they coming together? What story are they telling? Right? They can tell a story. They should be telling a story. They should be giving some ideas. And that's something that I really have pushed myself on. And you can kind of feel the contrast if I give you a metaphor about like watching a movie or reading a book, and all of a sudden a character dies off, and you're like, but they were just like, how did that happen? And there was no lead in, there was no explanation. There was like, after, Joe's funeral, then this happened. You're like, how did we get here? Like, they cut to Joe's funeral and nobody knows how Joe died. We have no idea, right? And you're like rewinding on the TV, like, did something skip? You're looking in the book, did pages get ripped out? What happened? Because it's jilted, right? And so sometimes choreography can kind of be hard to follow. It's kind of all over the place, right, so to speak. So you can be on a roller coaster that does these different things, and you want your piece to have journey to it. But if you're on a roller coaster that starts going, gang, 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 you're like, wait, like, I don't know if it's supposed to do this. Like, what kind of janky, it's like, thing is this? So you want to feel that you're phrasing, that you're coming together with some nice storytelling inside of the phrasing. It's conversational. There's, some nuances to it that make you want to lean in like you would lean into any story. Tell me more, right? That's what Derek K. Grant's choreography does all the time. I knew it. I've danced his choreography many times, but being able to be out in the audience and listen to it that time, I was just listening to students do it. I was like, oh, okay. You know what you're going to expect out of professionals. He's choreographing on professionals. It's going to be great. But listening to him choreograph on students, I think, very impressed by that. And so even with younger or less developed students, beginner students, intermediate students, etc., there's room for a lot of creativity in there. And so I've continued to challenge myself even at those levels. Okay, this is a group of beginners. I'm going to get them to crush it. How? Right? Partly through creativity in the phrasing, making sure that it's clear, strong, clear idea, clearly conveyed, that they can give that they can really get an audience to lean in as beginners, intermediates, etc. So regardless of level, I believe it can be done. I've been working myself more in that direction, and there's a lot of people doing that. So those are things that I think about in terms of the musical aspects of clarity. Clear ideas, clearly conveyed. Then from there, it's like I've got that stuff locked up. Then I can kind of open myself up to the rest, right? I open myself up to the rest and say, how is the rest of this coming along thematically? Costume, lighting, if you have that option, the staging, full body, expression, like how is it all coming together? Is it all coming together to tell a coherent story, right? So sometimes I'll have a song, and the song will give me a feeling or story idea or something where I say, okay, this is what the song is inspiring, this feeling. It's inspiring this feeling of inspiration, upliftment, fall down, but get back up, perseverance, resilience. That's what this song is inspiring. I want the audience to feel inspired. I want to grab the audience and take them on this journey where it's really flying at the end. Like it's this building, flying at the end kind of a piece, that it takes the audience on this roller coaster. That's what I want this piece to do. Other times I'll have an idea and I'll find songs that serve the idea. I created a piece one time about waiting for the subway in New York when the subway's late and it just is taking forever to come. And then you get kicked off the subway because it just goes out of service and they never tell you why. It's very frustrating. I created a whole piece about that. So I found music that sounded like waiting, that sounded like frustration, impatience, urgency, jump on the train, you're on this wild ride, and then it cuts out. Like I found music that did that and put together music that did that. So the whole idea was, this is the story, and I'm using tap dance as the vehicle to tell this story. So it's like, does the story come across? Is it clear what's happening here, right? And did I choreograph it clearly enough for that to happen? Did I give my students all of the tools so that they could then get on stage and tell that story? Right? Could they do that? Now, sometimes it's like you run out of time and you're like, oh, I ran out of time. And so I didn't get a chance to do the rest. I came up with my composition that I really liked, but the whole thing didn't really come together because I ran out of time or things like that. Or we just didn't think the whole thing through. We were just like, okay, here's the feet, get out there and smile. Right? Like sometimes you're like, that's what we, had time for. And so I want to challenge you to continue to breathe life into the expression of tap dance, the possibilities of tap dance. One of the most inspirational um, shows that I've seen of tap dance is Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk. And I saw it many, many times on Broadway, any chance I could. And it's telling stories. And there's emotion. There's all kinds of emotion, being conveyed, you know, um, anger. It's like tragedy, intensity, um, comedy. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that are happening. It's like storytelling that's happening inside of the show. And so it's like being able to bring these ideas to life. It's so exciting. And it doesn't mean that it all has to be like straight arms, rigid this, rigid that. It doesn't mean that it has to be that. But can be that, sure. I was a Rockette for almost 5 years. Like it can be that. You can put an idea out there like that, but there's a whole range of emotion. There's a whole range of thematic storytelling that tap dance can do. Right? That kind of storytelling isn't limited to contemporary class, right? Right. And so our students love those classes. They love to bring their hearts and souls to their dancing. Right. And so if we aren't giving them the opportunities because we said, here's the feet, get out there and smile. Yeah. Then I think sometimes we're missing that opportunity to show them and give them that chance to express themselves and have feeling that bring their hearts to what they do in their tap shoes. Right. And it's a real gift when we can give them that so that they feel a character. They can put on a character and try this out and do those things. And then I think it's engaging for audiences. And I think it's fun for us creatively to do that. I think it gives us a different kind of life. I'm so like, I don't want us in the rut. You know what I mean? I don't want us in the rut. And so this is why I'm having this particular topic, because I want you to be able to look at your pieces, do the cold study, do the cold observance, see how you feel about the piece. Do you like it? Is there a clear idea being clearly conveyed musically and with the overall theme? Do you like it? Right? And if you don't like it, why not? Right? If you want it to be better, in what way? Like, get as clear as you can about those things. I gave you some ideas around that, whether it's around phrasing, song choices, what emotion, if there's just a lead emotion that is happening through the whole piece, or if there's a full on story happening, that you're telling that and really taking the time to bring that stuff to life and to plan it into your vision and then teach it. And of course, have enough time to teach the whole thing, right? It's a lot to do. I think that, there's so many intricacies to tap dance and so many nuances to tap dance, that it can feel tough to do, but it is possible. I work with tap teachers all the time about helping our students to get better faster, right? It can be done. We can get our choreography out to our students faster so that we can help them to be clean and confident enough to be thinking about bringing a full piece to life and giving us the space to then sit back and be creative and have fun as choreographers with our students in the creative process. Right. But in order for us to do that, I think it's important for us to reflect on it and not just, oh, they did it right. Thank goodness. Recital done. Right. And I understand like the exhaustion point. But so once you're past the exhaustion point, right, of like, I'm tired. Now you've done a little resting, to then go back and like watch the video of it, or where, whatever you can do of it to evaluate the piece based on some of those parameters and any others that you come up with. So I hope this is helpful for you. We will continue to talk about our, choreography and ways to continue to take it up a notch. It's an important part, and it's a big part of our teaching work, especially in the studios. So drop some questions, comments in the below in the comments, and I will talk to you next time. Have a great one.